experts who have become experts through study, not experience. Not experience. They've read what others have produced, and they've read everything available on a subject, and they consider themselves an expert, having never experienced one instance of the subject with which they are studying. They leave out so much. It tells me how fucking ignorant they are. And this is the thing where you think you know enough to be an expert when in reality you know enough to be an expert that's in deep and serious trouble because what you believe is half of the reality. Half. Because the majority of the other subjects are not published for various reasons. Okay? So if it's not published, you don't know it. Let me read a little thing here. Fucking Lad Bible. They come up with the most bullshit Lad Bible is one of those goddamn Enquire times 10, to the 12th power bullshit fucking rags. Top experts, no fucking names, no references. I went through the whole article, okay? Revealed the only two places on Earth that would be safe during a nuclear war. Really? Really? Security experts. Well, now it's security experts and not top experts. You see, I don't know if AI wrote this or what, okay? But it's so fucking lost in its inability to understand the actual concepts behind what they're talking about, a nuclear conflagration. Security experts have shared the two places on Earth that might be safe in the event of a nuclear war. Wait a minute, what does the title say? The only two places on Earth that would be safe during a nuclear war. Not 3 fucking sentences later, they talk about might be safe. No, the very next sentence is might be safe. See? Is this information even worth reading? You see, being in the nuclear business, and not just being in the nuclear business, okay, but understanding defense, nuclear deterrence is such a vital, important part of this subject, and it's not covered. Not even in the slightest little bit. So, the American Annie Jacobson, thought to be one of the most qualified nuclear experts, thought to be? You see how this whole fucking article is full of maybe, could be, possibly, you know what I mean? The American claims her books alone have convinced a number of billionaires to build bunkers in secret locations. You build your fucking bunker, idiot. You build your fucking bunker. If there's ever a nuclear conflagration, let me tell you the only places that are going to be safe. The only places that are going to be safe is probably the moon or the bottom of the ocean, the Marianas Trench. These people don't understand. You know why? Let me tell you why. Because whoever this fucking expert is, the only actual nuclear explosion they've experienced, seen, witnessed, or whatever has been just plain old atomic bombs. Not fissionable devices, not weapons burning tritium as a fuel, that you need 5 Hiroshima bombs to set off the hydrogen isotopes that create a thermonuclear weapon. And these people, their whole life, like everyone else, they've seen those same goddamn worn out nuclear explosions, nuclear, not thermonuclear, plain old 26 kiloton explosions that they show in the ocean over and over and over and over and over again. That is not reality. That is not reality. If there is a all-out nuclear conflagration on this planet, I don't give a fuck how deep your bunker is or how much food you have saved or how good your filtration system is, okay? You're just going to die last. You're just going to die last and lonely and alone. Understanding that all the effort and money you spent trying to save your fucking life wasn't worth a dime. Steve Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO. The 58-year-old cited her book, Nuclear War, a Scenario, which hypothesizes that the world could pretty much end in 72 minutes if a nuclear war broke out. Duh! At least this person understands. But you see, still, they're not talking about a thermonuclear war. It's just nuclear war. When you say nuclear war, what do people see? They see that Samuel fucking Baker test that people have seen over and over and over and over thousands of times. Okay? If you want to see a thermonuclear reaction, we're talking 25, 30 megatons, then you have to buy a DVD that is for sale at, I believe it's for sale at Amazon. The Atomic Bomb Movie. It's called The Atomic Bomb Movie. The investigative journalist claims a nuclear war would kill 5 of 8 billion people on Earth in just 72 minutes. Apparently, there's only 2 places on Earth that could be safe. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. No place is safe. Now, some places would be safer, and other places are going to be completely fucking open to destruction. Now, let's say you live right next to Shasta Dam, and you know for a fact, growing up out there, that they have nuclear missiles, nuclear intercept missiles all over that place. Because that is a piece of infrastructure that the government considers to be protection worthy. Now, take Los Angeles. They don't give a fuck. Los Angeles isn't surrounded by a nuclear deterrent system. Shasta Dam is, because they want to make sure it stays operating. They need the water. They need the electricity, especially after an initial conflagration. Okay? So the safest place to be is where there are missiles launching right next to you to intercept the missiles that are coming in to kill you. As far as geolocation that might be safe for you at a nuclear conflict, they don't exist. Maybe the moon or the Marianas Trench. And even the Marianas Trench sooner or later would become highly radioactive. She explained that when agriculture fails, we have a nuclear winter, which means that the sun gets blocked out. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. But you see, it's not just food, it's temperature. Temperature. It's not just food, it's temperature. There's large bodies up in the mid-latitudes are frozen over in the sheets of ice. And when you have all the billions of people dying, it's because agriculture fails. That doesn't make much sense. Billionaires have been building bunkers in New Zealand to hide. You just go ahead and build your fucking bunker. You die last and alone. You see, I want to be right underneath of that fucking thing. I want it to completely 100% painlessly evaporate my body into its molecular constituents. And I want the same thing for the people that I love. Because, well, I died before. I know what comes next. And it's way better than this place. So I don't want to die alone and last. She went on to reel that a group of billionaires have told her that they've built bunkers in New Zealand. What a fucking, you see, these are the fucking billionaires. You see why they're like Merck and Bezos, they're all into fitness because they want to live as long as possible to enjoy their money. This is the problem. Every day they exist and a child starves to death, they will starve to death in this next life. This is not the end. There is more and more and more evidence to point out that what I've been talking about my whole fucking life is true. It's just above and beyond our mental capacity to understand. That's all. But the evidence is there. It's just when we try to interpret the evidence, it looks like something supernatural because it's almost unbelievable. How the fuck can a person that's been blind since birth talk about colors, objects, describing shapes and items of medical instruments and things? This is why doctors are extremely interested because they're saying, yeah, I was floating right above my body and I watched you guys do this and this and this. And I was very calm and there was no fear. That's because you're not in your body. You're not having adrenaline rushes and all these biomechanical things we have for self-preservation, right? Why one former CIA agent is getting his family out of the US so they can die last and alone. That you don't understand the difference between what people are shown on television and what the actual weapon looks like when it goes off. People don't understand. A thermonuclear device uses like a hydrogen isotope, and then they set that off with nuclear weapons. 20 kiloton nuclear devices. And then you get megaton weapons. And people don't know what that looks like. People don't, they see the explosion happen, or these fucking idiots that I constantly see on YouTube or news articles with their little, this is what it would look like if a nuclear bomb went off in your city. And they're showing these little damage circles, right? As if, well, people here would be dying immediately, and these people out here might die and these people, okay, when I see those, it's laughable. It's fucking laughable. It is so far off the reality that I almost think this is to make people feel better. That, oh, there could be a limited nuclear exchange and we'll be okay. No, there's never going to be such a thing as a limited nuclear exchange. If Russia, India, Pakistan, the United States, France, Great Britain, anybody else starts a nuclear conflagration, okay, there is no scenario where it stops. It will be, okay, we need to launch everything before they launch against us. That's what Russia's going to do, first thing. Russia's going to launch everything they have in the fucking ground. Period. Because they can't afford to wait, because most of their shit is never going to leave the tubes. Same thing with China. They went and looked at their missiles, and instead of having fuel in the fucking missiles, there was water. Okay? So people understand that it will all be launched. And then 30 days later, every fucking submarine, including the 60 submarines that Russia has under the surface, and I don't know how many the United States has, under the surface, loaded, okay, with megaton weapons, and they now launch their weapons. And then 30 days later, they launch more. And they do this until they're all gone. You see, those people on those boats, they know that it's over. So they won't have a problem launching because they know that they're dead right then. Anyway, see? The only safe place temporarily would be on the moon or in the Marianas Trench. And even then, that would become quite radioactive. But you see, the difference between Baker and what shot was that? Where they literally blew all the buildings down on the base. They were 28 miles away, and they miscalculated. This was the first wet bomb using hydrogen isotopes. It was a liquid. That's why they called it a wet bomb. And they significantly underestimated the amount of megatons that were going to come out of this device. And they literally blew all the fucking buildings down on an island 26 miles away. So that's just one. That's just one. You see, what's going to happen is a MIRV is going to come in. Some of them are going to be fakes in order to take out the interceptors. And then there's going to be 7 or 8 of them that are going to be real. And they're all going to land in a certain area. They're going to be between 2 and 20 megatons. And people just don't understand what that means when you're underground bunker. Your underground bunker. So you will either slowly die of radiation poisoning, which is just, oh my God, a fucking horrible way to go, where your insides are liquefied slowly. Okay? You can have the best filtration system. You can have everything you want in your underground bunker, and that's where you're going to die. So let's say you have a bomb shelter in your backyard. And it's your typical bomb shelter, which is between, let's say, 10 feet deep in someone's backyard to 100 to 200 feet deep for the most expensive, most complicated, most fucking billionaire, type fucking safety net that they can come up with. When you're sitting in your bunker that's that deep underground, it's going to be around 500 degrees. It'll be 100,000 degrees on the surface, but you will cook in your little bunker. And if you don't cook in your bunker because you didn't get a direct hit, you're going to run out of food, you're going to run out of water, you're going to run out of air filtration, and sooner or later, you got to come out. And what are you going to find? You're alone, and now you're going to slowly die the most horrible fucking death you can conceive of. Probably worse than burning alive, because that's going to be over in a minute. Okay, you could linger for weeks as your skin falls off and your fucking guts liquefy inside of you while you're completely aware. You see, this is the reality. People, I've often said that it's every time you see that nuclear bomb go off, it's propaganda. It's a way of desensitizing people so that their idea of a nuclear weapon is shot Baker. Shot Baker. That's it. There was 2 of them. One of them was above the water. The other was below the water. The one below the water convinced Eisenhower, I believe, to not set any more weapons off underwater. Now, they later on in the 60s and 70s, they did it again, okay, because they were smaller and they understood what they were doing. But that blew, when that bomb went off underwater, that blew little chunks of coral. Those little chunks of coral flew 22 miles to Navy vessels that were sitting out there to observe, document the event. Sailors were picking up these little pieces of coral and putting them in their pockets and keeping them for souvenirs. They all died horrible deaths. There's a TV special I saw one time and one time only. It's never come on again because it's scary as fuck. And it's called Goodbye Bikini Atoll. And that shows the guy, his hands are like twice as big as my head. They're twice as big as my head, and they look like lobster hands. They're all red, and this is what he's suffering from picking up that little tiny piece of fucking coral all those years before. Okay? They told the Bikini Islanders, oh, it's safe to go back. They went back, they started eating coconuts, and they all started dying of cancer. So now they're not there any longer. You see, the information they have on nuclear exposure is all based on the two bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That is where all of the data has come from when it comes to what's going to happen when you have these mass exposures. See? Outdated, antiquated. Even the instrumentation they used back then was shit. And so, the majority of people died of radiation poisoning. Some were evaporated instantly, which is what I would prefer, because I am going to be in that next place again. I'm going to go home. I consider that place my actual home, because they pretty much told me this is where your forever existence will be. This is where you will exist forever. Time stops for you now. See? That's why this horrible, horrible, horrible existence we're forced to live right now in this physical plane, it's necessary. Okay? It's necessary so that we're corporeal when we go to this next place. We stick together. But make no mistake, the billionaire who dug his fucking bunker because all he could think about was living, well, he didn't build a bunker for everybody, did he? He didn't spend all of his billions protecting everybody, did he? Nope. He only built it for him and his family. I can tell you that every single person that died because of what those billionaires did not do, they will suffer. This is what keeps me sane. I talk about it constantly. This is what keeps me sane, is because I understand the truth and the reality of what comes in the next life. It isn't like wham, bam, and oh, everything's wonderful. No. When you get there, you're no longer a human being. You're a quantum entity. And all information is available to you. And that person that you didn't give the $5 to because they were starving, and you had $1 billion and you said, fuck you, go get a job, you will live that life. Not because God's going to make you do it. It's because you're going to make you do it. You see, you will no longer be the billionaire creature, animal, dark, full of fucking, evilness that you were here. You will now be a spiritual being. And you will relive through your own volition every death that you cause through action or inaction. Elon Musk, when he comes in and says, oh, we're just going to stop childhood cancer, he is going to die as a child with cancer, I don't know how many times, but he's going to. All the money he could have spent that he blew on fucking Twitter, he could have built hospitals, he could have saved people's lives. But instead, right, he does the opposite. Evil tends to do that. Look at Vladimir Putin. Evil. Everything that he wanted to accomplish, he accomplished the exact opposite. So let me tell you, the only safe place in a nuclear conflagration is going to be where there are defenses set up. I am quite convinced through my own knowledge that Shasta Dam will be just fine. And the Russians are going to send not one, not two, but probably 10. And the military knows that. I don't know how many fucking warheads are out there. Every now and again, we get these stories in the Shasta. No, there are no missile systems out at Shasta. Yes, there are. Yeah, this is pretty funny. Billionaires building bunkers so they can survive a nuclear war. Jesus Christ. I think the movie is still available. Let me check. It's still available. It's called The Atomic Bomb Movie. The There we go. Trinity and Beyond, The Atomic Bomb Movie. $26. $26. Customers usually keep it. So they have a Blu-ray version and a DVD version. You should just get the DVD version because it's all beautifully restored. Do not get the Atomic Bomb 3D movie one. There's only one scene in there that's 3D and it is not active, it's passive. Okay, the Atomic Bomb movie. Let me show you what this is what the cover looks like. That is my Yamamoto watermelon with chartreuse tail fishing worms. Okay, so anyway, if you get this, they show quite a few scenes. All of the atomic weapons we exploded in space, you'll see those. The atomic weapons we exploded underwater, you'll see those. You'll see a lot of stuff that people don't normally see, including a hydrogen device being set off. Then you'll understand the magnitude of what I'm talking about.